What's up? Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Let me know if you guys can hear me and see my screens on YouTube. Go over the analysis for the day here. How's everybody doing? Good morning, Odyssey, David, good morning. Jorge, what's up? Good morning, good morning. Hopefully everybody had a good night. I'm just now getting back to the charts. I was up going over the charts around 6 a.m. this morning, then went on a run, now just came back. So going back, not a lot has changed other than we've seen a lot of buying since the PPI news at 8:30. The market really already bounced since we hit the low of the bounce range, but I'll talk more about the technical analysis stuff here in just a minute. We'll dive into it. Good morning, Gen X Trade. Good morning. Good morning, Keyshawn. Welcome in, guys. It's rise and grind. That's what David said. Yep. All right. Give it just a minute. I think I did schedule this actually for 9:05 a.m. today, so people may be kind of waiting for the 9:05 time. I think normally do 9 a.m., but I think I accidentally put 9:05 on the live stream schedule. Yeah, Praise asked, are you from Florida? Yep, I'm in Central Florida, Orlando area. Born here, lived a few other places, military, and then went to school for computer science down in Tampa and was an engineer for a while before just being a trader. Now I'm back in my hometown in Orlando. What about you guys? Let me know where you guys are joining from. It's always interesting to see where everybody's at. Nice. You're over in West Palm Beach. Yeah, we got Disney passes because it's just super convenient with the kids. It's just an easy thing to do. It's kind of like a subscription for all of our fun. Instead of paying to go do something else, we just have, it's really not much. It's like $150 for us and the two kids, and can just go to 4 different Disney parks as much as we want. And there's 2 water parks. So nice. Tony NC, nice. I lived in North Carolina. My grandparents lived in North Carolina, so I grew up going there, and then I was stationed there in the military. Houston, nice, nice. Gee, my sister lives over in Texas. No iced latte today. I've got just a hot green tea. What base? I was on Camp Lejeune. Tori. See if there's any comments in the Instagram. Nothing. For those of you guys joining in the live on Instagram, I am also live on YouTube. I shared the link in my story, and it's in my bio on Instagram to the YouTube live stream where I'm sharing my screens. So if you want to see that and be a part of it that way, I recommend joining in on YouTube. All right, so we'll jump into the analysis now. What I'm watching for the day. It's pretty simple. I like to keep things pretty simple, straightforward. But let me start out at a higher time frame. We're looking at the hourly here. I'll just start out on the daily. Let me move this to more blank charts. So late June, we had this large rally. broke out new all-time highs, didn't close a red day for like, I don't even know what this was, like 10 days or something crazy. Broke out those new all-time highs, and really since that large breakout to the new all-time highs around 63.40s. So yesterday poked above 63.43 and then dropped way back down to the low of this range. You can see I'm watching this level around 62.58. That was the prior all-time highs, which kind of made lower highs, almost kind of triple topped before we had that large sell-off earlier this year. Since recovered, breaking out new all-time highs. But I'm looking at this as kind of a balanced range that we're in right now. We are at all-time highs though, which makes it a little bit tricky. I'm not really looking, I'm much more cautious on the short side. What do I think of the 6,300 level? We'll get there. It's an area of interest. So you can see after we broke out above these all-time highs, 62.58, we made that initial kind of push to new all-time highs in the 30s to 40s. And we've since rejected that 1, 2, 3 times. I think each time we just barely pushed a new high and then dropped back down to the low of this range. So pretty clear structure. Generally what I look for in a balanced range like this is I look for price to get to the extremes to fade it and target back towards the middle of the range. Or if we break strongly out of this range, not just a quick fake out that recovers like we saw last night, but a strong breakout and then rallies that fail under that consolidation range, right? Then it's like a basing and, you know, supplier demand structure. Once I see that form, then I'll look to take it outside that range. So say if we break strongly below these 58s, and really even kind of where this low was around 46, if we break firmly below that and then come back up into that area to retest it, then I will look to see if sellers are wanting to reload outside of this consolidation range to take it short and have lower targets. But for now, I am not looking to do that. I am not looking to front run a breakdown near the low of this balance range. I'm only looking for longs near the low of the balance range. And unfortunately, overnight and in the pre-market on news, we have already hit that and rallied back towards the middle of the range. So that makes it less than ideal, but there is some interesting things that we can watch, some interesting setups that may develop. Any questions on that before I start dropping down into the lower time frames and the game plan for today? Disney $150 a month, that's cheaper than I thought. Yeah, we've had passes for like 15 years, so it's been a while, or not 15, maybe 11 or 12 years, maybe something like that. It's not too bad. It's gone up significantly, but it's still not too bad. Good morning, Jason. Good morning, Stelios. All right. I don't see any questions in the chat on that. Again, one more time for those of you guys joining in, help us with screen view. Ben, if you look in my story on here, let me flip the camera around here for you guys, actually, and I'll try to show you. But if you go on YouTube, I posted, if you go on YouTube, I posted on there the link to, or sorry, if you go on my story, I posted the link to the YouTube live stream where I'm sharing my screen. Do I ever look at socks, David asked. Yes, I do sometimes, not all the time, but I do look at socks. It had, a pretty large gap up and then it's dwindled back down. But that, I think, it does weight both the indices, but it has probably a greater impact on the NASDAQ because of how heavily tech weighted and semiconductor weighted the NASDAQ is. Is Carmine my mentor? Yeah, I've been in the invested trade group for a long time, and so I learned a lot from trading from Dylan and Carmine. All right, so we'll drop down. Oops. We'll drop down a little bit lower time frames now. I don't see any questions on this game plan and analysis so far. Again, we're just kind of in this consolidation range here. We broke out these new all-time highs. We had these old all-time highs. And since then, we've pretty much just been peaking outside of that range and then quickly moving back towards the middle or the other extreme of that range since then. So here it is on the 4-hour. You can see pretty much the same thing. This is that old all-time high. Actually, let me mark that. So I haven't updated on this. I don't have much on this chart set. This is my blank chart set that I tried to have very, very minimal stuff. These are more of my levels on my intraday chart, which is still not too much. This is some older stuff that I could probably clear through out here, but don't worry about that. We're just looking at up here where current price range is. Again, we had that pretty extensive rally that broke out those new all-time highs. And here it is where I marked it once we made that high and pulled back. And this is really where we formed that range initially. And you can see the 50% of that we've broken back above around 89 to 89-ish area. So that is actually an area of interest that I'm watching this morning, is right around 89 to 85, 89 to 87, 86. There's kind of a low volume area where price moved up very quickly this morning off the news. If we come back and retest that and buyers are still strong, then that is an area. And I'm gonna mark that as well. I'll mark it on the lower time frames because it's a little messy to mark it here on the 4-hour. Sorry, this is a little crooked for you guys on Instagram. Let me see, I don't know if I can fix that. But again, if you want to see my screens, I recommend just joining it over on the YouTube live stream. The link is in my story. How do I overlay drawings on TOS? I'm not sure what you mean by that question, Jose. How do you overlay drawings in TOS? Bradley asked that. Jose, good morning. Bradley, I'm not sure what you mean by that, but there's different drawing sets that you can create down here and save all the drawings that you do to that drawing set, and I can flip through them. So I have like a blank one that I keep very, very minimal. Actually, I will usually just clear out the drawing set and just have like very minimal stuff on here. And then I have my intraday trading one, which has all of my levels that I'm watching. So here we are in the 4-hour time frame. Again, you can see the low of this range, and you can call it where this demand area was formed. On this large rally day here, back on, what was this, July 2nd, we pushed that new all-time high, and we formed this kind of demand here after we based and rallied out of it. And since then, we've dropped down after, peaking highs. We've dropped down here 1, 2, 3, 4 times now and bounced off this zone 4 times. And actually this is a slightly lower low, but since this initial low that pulled back in here, we've made higher lows since then. Get rid of that because I don't need that. We also have this trend line here looking at the 4-hour time frame that we can see we've clearly made higher lows off of. And then we had a kind of a fake out of that trend line last night that held right at this old all-time high key level, 62.58 that I talked about. So that's very key going into today. I would want to see this hold pretty much immediately on pullbacks now, because we've already kind of faked out this low area. We've already kind of taken liquidity down there overnight. So I would want to see any pullbacks hold at key areas going into this morning and target the middle of the range. That could be around 6,300. And if we get above 6,300, then that could be the upper portion of this range, like say around, see where the selling is there. That'd be another good area, 6,322 to target, just to front run these highs. Just places where sellers could potentially reload if I was in longs from down here. Make sense? Good morning, Ishan. No worries. Welcome in. Glad you're here. All right, so I'm going to drop down to the hourly time frame here. And we can see a more clear picture of the same exact thing that I've been talking about. Let me zoom this in a little bit. So this is that kind of balance range off this demand that formed when we broke out those all-time highs. Higher lows since then. We had this fake out last night after a pretty aggressive all-day selling yesterday. So yesterday was pretty eventful, even though I didn't really catch much. I caught a couple bottom reversal attempts. All went for partial take profits, then came back for break even. So pretty, you know, it was an outlier day yesterday to see that just all day selling. That has not happened a lot recently. And we went and took out those lows, and since then we've pretty much gone straight up since we took out those lows around 3 a.m. So it's one of those things where it goes straight down until it hits it, and then it starts going straight up. But it was interesting yesterday how sellers were reloading on pops in a way that we have not seen in some time. All right, so looking at the hourly time frame, we can see pretty large pop here starting at 8 a.m. We had that PPI news at 8:30, so it's been a positive reaction so far. But we're coming into this consolidation area from yesterday, so we got to watch out for that. And it's a little bit unfortunate because I would have loved to take a long down in this area around this trend line, around this key level, and it happened at 3 a.m. and we've bounced straight up since then. And now that we've already hit this and bounced straight up since then, it's not as good to initiate up here, in my opinion, because we're coming into this area. Yesterday afternoon, we had kind of another base drop. So this is an area of resistance we could see from sellers, so we need to watch out for this. So from a risk versus reward perspective, it's not looking so ideal to try to long right here. Now, if we get pullbacks, that would be better, especially into this area around 85 to 90, call it. That would be ideal. Drop down to the 15-minute here. So you can see we had after we broke this structure here right around 90 at these 90 lows, we had a quick drop down yesterday. And then once we recaptured that again today, right here around 86, 87, we had a quick pop recapture on this news. So this kind of left this area a fairly low volume here between like 90 and 87. So this is an interesting area to watch going into this morning to see if buyers are very strong, if we pull back into there and it bounces aggressively for a quick, dip and rip off the open. We'll see if that sets up. If we just continue blasting straight up off the open, it's going to be a tough situation for me because I'm not going to want to fade the strength and I'm not going to want to chase the longs. $63.11 is also a key area that I was watching. It's a key area from yesterday. You can see I have it marked here, 63.11 and a half. I've had that marked for a few days since last week. But it was just this swing high area that formed. And then you can see how price reacted to it 1, 2, 3 times. And then once we broke above it, it reacted again here. I'm not super exact with the level. It's just kind of a general area. And you can see, so 1, 2, 3 attempts, we rejected it. And then once we broke above it, it held. And then yesterday, you can see once we broke below it, plus or minus a couple points, it broke above it, rejected, retested it, rejected pretty strongly in the afternoon. So this would have actually been a great selling point, and I'm just now seeing this. But I'm going to go back and review tomorrow now. But I would say in the moment here, it would have been tough to take it short for me, just because we kind of dipped, hit the bottom of this, and then kind of recaptured. But once we sold off again from it again and then tested it again here, I'm going to go back and review that later. That looks like a nice spot to take it short around 230. So I'm going to go review the order flow and see what happened there later. So game plan going into this morning, again, you can see this lower volume area. I'd like to see that hold on a pullback. If we do break down and we take out some of these swing lows, either here or here, I'm still interested in buying the dip I'm still looking for longs if I see a good sign of it. If we break under this trend line and this 62.58 level, that's when I would probably start to think about invalidating the buy the dip scenario, because we'd be breaking below the balance. And especially since we've already tested this so many times, if we break under here, come back and retest it, then I'd be potentially looking for shorts on a continuation of this really large drop from yesterday. And actually looking at the 15-minute, look at this. Look how that area there just held relentlessly from sellers. And we have touched that again this morning. Oh, it's right at 6,300 too. So 6,300 is a key level to watch. Let me go ahead and just mark that. So 6,300 is a key inflection point to watch. Maybe this morning, if we see a quick pop above it again that fails and test these sellers and these sellers still reload, maybe I take it short and just target this lower volume area just on a quick short reversal setup. I don't love that so much though. I'd have to see really good like confirmations on the order flow that I'm just like, I would be stupid not to take this trade. Just because we're in consolidation at all-time highs, the fact that we're here in general is already bullish, and I really don't like taking short setups. And that cost me yesterday. I avoided shorts and I looked for bottom reversals, and I did catch it a couple times, scaled out, and then got stopped out break even. But just because that kind of anomalous day happened yesterday doesn't mean that's going to happen again today. In fact, it's almost more likely that the opposite would happen today. Everybody's trying to do what they missed yesterday now that it's obvious, and then the opposite happens. Praise asked, do I have a Discord channel? No, this is the only thing that I have right now. It's just social media, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and I share this stuff with you guys for free. Just sharing what I'm already doing anyway. I may have some more stuff coming for you guys in the near future though. Yeah, it definitely could be a short covering day after just this all day selling. We already hit these lows of this balance range, right? And sellers failed to break down or continue lower. So far, that could change. But so far, sellers already drove price all the way down to the low of this balance range and immediately got reclaimed, and we've been going straight up since then. So could definitely see just an immediate V-shaped bounce. Yeah, and Ishan, this is like the 50% as well. That's another reason why this is a tricky area. So we're right at the 50%, right at 6,003. And then another thing I didn't talk about, let me pull up this drawings. No. Where is it? It's on my other screen. But if you draw an anchored VWAP from the start of where this breakout occurred, these all-time highs breakouts, it's right around like 52.96 as well. So like right around 52.96 and 6,300 is kind of a key inflection point area. And I find it tough for me, just from a risk versus reward perspective, to initiate something right here. If there's a ton of momentum off the open, it could be a quick scalp setup where we break above 6,300, pull back. There's a lot of strong momentum. We get in it and target 6,311, this high, these sellers here. I'm not ruling that out. If we get a momentum, I call it like a morning momentum breakout setup. We have just a lot of momentum right off the rip, shorts covering, a lot of excitement, buying, stepping in. We break above, pull back. That's a quick jump in the momentum on a pullback. If it holds around this 96 to 6,300 area and just target those 6,311s, or maybe this swing high here around the 15s. Could pop in that scenario, can possibly try to leave runners on and just trail the stop along if it's very strong and momentous. I don't know if that's a word. If it's got a lot of momentum building up. We'll see. We just got to see what develops. All right. Any questions on that? We got a couple minutes till the market opens now. I think pretty simple, pretty clear game plan today. I usually flip this screen over to the 2-minute time frame for intraday, and then on my screen above, I usually look at that 15-minute. I did a video of my whole entire layout, guys. If anyone's interested in seeing basically my entire trading setup and my layout of my screens and everything like that, I posted a video on YouTube, so you guys can check that out if you're interested. Logan said it's been difficult to get the same amount of points as, yeah, conditions change and volume and volatility and the price range swings. We've had good ranges. We've had good price ranges. But I would say this month has been a little tricky for me so far. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm still hanging in there, still having a good month, but it's just price action for me has been a little tricky, and it's just, I think summer volatility has changed a little bit, and conditions have changed a little bit. We had I think just looking at the higher time frame, like we talked about, we had a really strong rally, and then since the beginning of July, we've really just been kind of up and down in this consolidation range. So trying to hold, I feel like it's, unless you get in at the low or the highs, it's been difficult to hold a big move, because there's been a lot of just kind of up and down inside the middle of this range. All right, for those of you on Instagram, I'm staying on the live on YouTube. So if you'd like to stay a part of the stream there, I recommend checking out the YouTube live stream. I'll stay on there. I'm sharing my screens on there. The link is in my story on Instagram, and the link is in my bio to my channel. So I recommend joining the YouTube live stream. Thanks for joining on here. I'm going to stick around on YouTube, but I'm going to go ahead and end the stream on Instagram. Again, live on YouTube. Link is in my story, and see you guys next time. All right. Yeah, so YouTube is just a better live streaming platform. Can't really share my screen or anything on Instagram, so I do it there to kind of share a little bit with, but it's easier for me to just manage like one stream rather than trying to look and share it, both things. So I don't think anybody really has a preference to look at a live stream on Instagram anyway. All right, so a couple minutes till the open here, or sorry, that is the open here. Let me switch my screen over to Bookmap, and we'll check out this order flow together here. There's a lot of orders coming in right here off the rip, so let's see what happens. There's a lot of excitement here. There's that 6,300 testing again. It's going to be tricky to chase it here, though. Like I said, I like that momentum setup, going into those target those 6311s, but we'll have to see how it develops here. Kind of weaker selling, but it is kind of rejecting right away here. We swept above those 6,300s by a couple points, up to about 6,302. Swept up there a couple points and bounced. So we're coming back towards that area that I talked about between like 90 and 87. So let's watch if we get down there and see what happens. it already looks like there's quite a bit more volatility this morning than we've seen sometimes lately. Now we kind of swept under this kind of swing low from the pre-market here around 94. Swept under that. So we swept the high. We had this little pre-market consolidation between like 93 and 6,300, and we've swept above and below that now. And again, this is that kind of key middle of the range area, so we need to be cautious here. Or I need to be cautious here with how I trade. Logan said, what do you do if you see a pullback this early? It really just depends. I'm not saying no. I generally like to avoid entering trades in like the first 5 minutes. I don't have any like hard rule. I'll take a trade when I see the confirmations and everything that is aligned with how I like to trade. But generally, I like to at least let the first like 5 minutes develop, because there's just so much like volume coming in, and it can just really swing price either way. It just doesn't tend to be like super high probability to jump in a trade in the first 5 minutes, because it can really just go either way. In my opinion, and from my experience of watching the market. You have to just get to the point where you really accept and are okay with not being a part of every move the market makes, and just looking for the setups that you like at the levels that you like, and not trying to chase everything that happens in the market. And once you have that, and you have a very clear view of like the setups that you're looking for, and you don't feel FOMO about the market going up or down, you're just focused on your setups at your levels. And if that doesn't happen, then you don't trade. That is the key. There's always the temptation, I think, earlier on to just jump into random trades because you see the market moving and you want to catch this, that, you want to be a part of every move the market's making. And it just leads to really random results that are often never positive in the long run. I believe with StreamYard, you can stream to IG and then you aren't managing both. You should look at it. Okay, yeah, I am using StreamYard, Justin. I'm using StreamYard to do this stream right now. I'll try to connect Instagram and see if I can stream it to both. That would be cool. I will check that out. Yeah, I do have the higher subscription. I know I can stream to multiple platforms. I just didn't know if the view, like this view, would look good on Instagram, or if it would work even. I'll try maybe next week when I do the live stream, I will try. It's a good idea. Thanks, Justin. Good morning, Matt and squad. That dude Ward, welcome in. Every day is a good day as long as we stick to the plan. That's right, Jason. As far as news goes, I don't have much else today. Good morning, Richard. Welcome in. Yeah, I don't have much else today. There's the crude oils. If you trade crude, be aware of that in 54 minutes. So at 10:30, I think. Was it 10:30? No, 10:40. Oh yeah, 10:30. Beige book at 2 p.m. might have some effect. And then, as always, we're at the mercy of the next tweet that comes out from Big T. There has been some escalation of stuff with like Ukraine and Russia, so we got to watch out for anything with that. Tariffs as usual. I need a tracker for every time Trump is scheduled to speak, and I don't have that. I haven't looked at that. If anybody has a tracker that shows like every time Trump is scheduled to speak or supposed to speak, that'd be great. Let me know if he's got any things planned today. Streamlabs also, check that out. Right, I have StreamYard right now already. I started using that for the streams, so I'll try to cast that to like Instagram as well next time. All right, so 7 minutes in now, we're in this range between 6,300 and 94. So it looked like right off the open, it looked like a nice bit of volatility. Excuse me. It's kind of settled down now into just a little bit, a tight 5-point range here now. There has been a lot of 5-point range bars open since 9:30. So I'm looking at my footprint chart. It has been pretty volatile up and down, but pretty wickedly holding right in this same little range. See if we get a quick drop down into those 90s to 85 area, and we'll see if buyers react down there. See some resting order here at 90 and 89. Not too big, but we'll see what happens if we get down here. And there's 85, so look at that, interesting enough. These resting orders all in this area. Look at the size of the bubbles, just kind of getting smaller as we continue to just kind of up and down in this range. See a lot of excitement. You can just see the excitement dwindling as we just kind of chop up and down in this range. And this is another thing that I love just about Bookmap, just the way it visualizes like the depth of market and the volume. You just don't see this on a candle chart up and down like this, and even just don't see it so clearly even on like a footprint chart, because I look at a footprint chart as well. But you can really visualize like the size of orders coming in and how price is moving and the pace of it. NQ is weaker index day so far. I haven't looked at NQ. Can take a look at that. Wow, VX. I think VX contract changed today, but yeah, interesting, because I think yesterday NQ was a little bit relatively stronger. It's be interesting to see if they kind of flip today. Yeah, ES looking stronger now, and NQ is looking weaker, which is good if NQ finds some support. Then ES now being relatively stronger, we could see a better upside bounce on ES. So I am watching for this 80 to 85 area to see if it reacts, but I am also keeping in mind that we are right in the middle of this balance range we've been in for a while now, like I talked about early in the pre-market. So kind of the same thing. We've been in this balance range. We're right in the middle of it. So we'll see if this reacts here towards a little bit lower in the balance range. Again, I would have really liked to be involved more around that trend line that I talked about this morning down in the 60s, 62 60s. Unfortunately, we had that bounce right there at 3 a.m. So we'll see if we get this little morning dip into this area and rip higher for a quick scalp. We just hit 90.75. So it's looking for a little bit more of a dip. And I don't see any kind of significant orders just yet for me to jump in and get involved. Oh yeah, NQ, they were going to start selling to China. That ripped and dragged NQ higher. Yeah. It's a bit of buying activity here, but not too significant. Did kind of hit this resting order here right at around 91, 90.75. It's a 200 lot negative delta down there, so it did fill. So there's 200 aggressive sellers down here that got filled by a passive buyer. And then there's also a 316 lot above that, so at 92. So at 92 and 91, there is a combined like 500 something lot passive buyer down here. So despite seeing all the selling right here, there is a passive buyer right here. But we'll see if it's enough to hold here or if we continue to drop further. I was kind of looking for this to drop a little bit further into this area. I do like this right here, though. I do like how the selling is dwindled and we're starting to see this buying stepping in. But it's slow and not quite significant enough for me, I think. Delta numbers, I'm looking at my footprint chart specifically. You can also see it over here on my depth of market. This is that 200 lot negative delta here at 91, 300 lot negative delta at 92. So I'm looking at that on my footprint chart, but I can see the same thing right here on the volume profile delta on the DOM. Right here. So right where this order filled, it's right here, this 200 lot negative delta. Now it's 400 lot. So there is more aggressive selling coming in here. So you can see after that passive buyer stepped in, price did pop a little bit, but it wasn't enough to continue. There's still more aggressive selling coming in. So that passive buyer got filled and there's still more aggressive selling coming in. So yeah, no problem. So now we dropped into that area that I was talking about. We just hit 89. So now we did drop into that, start to drop into that area. So I'm watching this very closely here. Still wanted to see it drop a little bit more and see some more significant orders come in. I do like this though, in 92 now, this 382 lot negative delta here. But you can see just zooming out, it's not quite so significant yet. But it is starting to look kind of good to buy this dip, but not quite enough just yet, I would say. Just because of the location being in the middle of the balance range, I want to see some really good confirmations. And I'm not quite seeing enough for me to pull the trigger right at this moment. Oops. ever since that pop right in the first minute over 6,300, sellers have kind of stayed in control. So I want to see something significant and different occur to change that and target 6,300 to 6,311. And if it just continues to drop and blast through right here, right now, then I'll just sit back and wait and watch. Again, it's just an area of interest, and then what I got to watch what happens there. It's not like price just drops in there and I automatically buy because it's there. You know, someone might have a strategy like that. That's not exactly how I trade. I like to see patterns of volume and price action develop to confirm my entry. Not I just come up with areas of interest to watch how price reacts there. It could go up or down. I don't know. Gotta wait and see. There is some buying occurring here. You can clearly see how price dropped kind of quickly down into here, and then we had that absorption and it's kind of slowed down, but there still is a lot of aggressive selling coming in. So it's slowed. It's kind of the bleeding is slowed after that quick little drop, but we'll see if it starts spewing or if it gets cauterized and bounces. Yeah, more selling coming in. We're still in that 90, like I said, that 90 to 85 range that I was kind of watching closely to see how we react there. Do I look at zero print? Not a ton. I do, but not super a ton. I can't see because my volume profile got cleared before the open. I'm not sure if there is any zero prints. All right, so now we're starting to see some larger orders coming in, some larger selling. We've dropped down into those 88s. So we're in that zone that I was looking to watch now. We'll see what happens here. So far, it's looking like sellers are staying in control of this, but we'll see if we get a nice strong absorption and some aggressive buying starts stepping in. The fake out over 6,300 that I mentioned was a nice did end up being a kind of a nice setup, but it happened in like the first minute off the open, and then it didn't look great after that. All right, so a lot of selling still pouring in here. Some interesting activity here. You can see how this is reacting kind of interesting right here. Yeah, some aggressive buying coming in here. See if we get a little bit of a pullback into it if it still reacts. some buying attempting right here. So we'll see if this reacts. We're still in that 85 to 89, 90 area. So we'll see. All right, I liked that. I just got that long here at 84.50. Really tight stop under like 83, just like a point and a half. I want to see a pretty quick aggressive pop back up towards 93. And if we don't, then I'll close this pretty quick. And it's only a 1 point loss, even if it drops. So it's pretty tight. It's worth a little stab at it because it is in this area of interest. The risk is just so tiny right here where I just got in. It was just like, okay, probability wise, we're dropping. So the probability is not super high, but very, very low risk. So we'll see. We are seeing this aggressive buying that held right here. So it's worth it. I have no problem just cutting this at break even though, or my stop loss is only a point. So I want to see aggressive buying really come in now though to further confirm this. So there's some nice aggressive buying. Definitely don't want to see this get sold into. I want to see that continue right here. And that is getting sold into pretty tough, pretty stiff. We'll see if it holds. Oh. I just took it off for 2 ticks. See if it holds. I'll get back in, but I don't like how we had that pop after my entry, which was good. That's what I wanted to see. And then it just got smoked back down here. We got a really nice pop right after my entry, which is, good. That's what I wanted to see, but I did not like how it just immediately got smoked. So I can re-enter if I see a good reason to. It is bouncing again here, but maybe I didn't give it enough room to breathe, but I just did not like that strong reaction from sellers right there. Crap. Maybe it bounces here, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. That was tough, right? Got a nice entry there and then just smoked with this aggressive selling. That was tough. Now it's bouncing right back up again. Yeah, it's just looking too iffy now. So what I liked was this absorption here on this drop just under that key area that I was talking about. And then I liked this aggressive buying coming in, but I just did not like how he had this aggressive buying and I had really, really tight risk. It would have stopped me out for a point. I stopped it out for a couple ticks, but I just didn't like how he immediately rejected with this selling. So I'm just going to stand by and wait here. we're still holding right at the bottom of that area of interest that I had. So good morning, Tobias. Welcome in. Yeah, so more heavy selling coming in. So sellers are clearly in control here this morning. Not gonna try to step in front of them until I see some good confirmations. I do like how we're continuing to hold this level right here though, like at 80, 83s, 82s. But I already tried it once here. I took just like a 2-tick stop on it. Pretty much just break even. A lot of my trades lately are risking like typically like around 2 or 3 points. This was a really, really sharp, tight risk entry here. And then I cut it basically. I try to let it breathe a little bit, but I just cut it. I cut it because we already saw the aggressive selling. If we pulled back, I would want to see a weaker pullback. And we pulled back so swiftly with such large selling on this that I just said, kind of invalidated the idea. I wanted to see weak selling like these tiny little bubbles here, assuming selling had dried up at this key area and aggressive buying was stepping in. I got in right here around 84.50 and I took it off like right here around 84, 83.75. Yeah, just too much heavy selling coming in. We did get the pop off this with some buying stepping in, but it just wasn't enough and sellers quickly reloaded. So need to step back now and just be patient and see what develops. '77 area. Yeah, under that little pre-news consolidation area. Yeah, that's not a bad area to watch. And it was also a swing high multiple times overnight. And we broke above it and then held it on a retest back into it around 74 to 77. That's an area of interest for sure. Some more activity right here popping up now off this 81. There's a 229 lot negative delta down there now. Yeah, we're nearing yesterday's close. But there's now a lot of selling this morning. I wanted to see kind of a quick little drop with lower volume selling into that zone that I talked about, which we've now dropped kind of below. And then I wanted to see us bounce out of that aggressively. And now it's kind of looking like we've dropped through that and now we're continuing to sell under that. So I'm going to be cautious here. So you can see this kind of consolidation area here before the news from 82 to 77. But look at this, just since that little opening consolidation range, we've just sold straight down. So this could bounce here. This is still close to an area of interest, so we need to watch this. But so far, I don't like how we kind of tried to pop off these areas with absorption and then immediately got smoked again. I don't love that. VX is at a new low. Oh yeah, VX has dropped quite a bit right here off the get-go. Not really. Just kind of zooming out. Not really. Yeah, VX contract is expiring today. There is a lot of selling right here at the lows, 200 lots, 200 lots, 120 lots, 200 lots. But we have kind of seen that all day since we dropped under the 90s. Look at that, all the selling, all the selling, all the selling. So it could set up for a nice sharp bounce. But again, we are right in the middle of this balance range. And I was kind of seeing if we kind of tested that 50%, dipped a little bit, and then charged and broke out above it. But so far we tested that 6,300 area and we've dropped down from there back towards the lows. Yeah, that's not a terrible idea there, Tobias. Shorting a pop into 88.91, that area, because that was kind of that key area that I talked about that I was looking for it to bounce at. We've broken under it. So yeah, that's a possible idea to short it now, given the weakness we've seen since the open, and target those 77s. It's not terrible. I would just say we had a pretty sharp drop yesterday. And so far, every time there's been a sharp drop for months now, it has lacked continuation. So I'm not so excited to get in continuations after a sharp drop. But it could work this time, for sure. We're still above the 66s to 58s, and we already kind of took out the low of that balance range. So despite the selling we've seen so far this morning, it's still just kind of a bit of a pullback, which is normal. And to me, I'd rather still stay patient to wait for a bottom in this context, in this location. But that's just my view, and everyone take their own setups, their own trades, because so far it has just traded lower today and I have not been a part of it. Not too much significant though, right at the moment. Just need to wait, stay patient. Stay patient for a good setup at a good area. I will watch if we do pop back up there into that, 87, 89 area. I will watch to see how that reacts. If I'm not like in it on a drop from a bottom reversal setup, then I will watch that. More strong selling coming in. So yeah, Tobias, this year, and so I should talk about that. Like this year, shorts have just not worked well for me overall. Like I'm pretty much flat and made the majority of my money this year on longs. So the long setups, I'm just leaning towards being very cautious with shorts and just waiting for long setups to develop, because my win rate and my R multiple has just been way higher on long setups this whole year, if I'm being honest with you guys. I still will take shorts. I'm not saying they're invalid. I'm just very cautious and want to see very good confirmations. So there's that 77 area of interest. We're seeing a little bit of a large buying pop up here at 78, 75. Did we touch 77? No, just a couple ticks above it. So some larger buying stepping in right here, actually. There's that 77.50 area up to this 83, kind of this consolidation before the news at 8:30 rallied. So that's kind of interesting here. I like that buying that just stepped in. I do. It's a little bit larger than what we've seen on these pops here. See the size of the buying there? Different, right? A little different. Let's see if we pull back into this and see what happens if we do. Be unfortunate if it just absolutely blasts right here. There was this large delta, this large order here, 80, did get filled, dropped down. We're bouncing with some more aggressive buying than what we've seen. So let's see what happens here. Come on, give us a pullback or something. Yeah, I am definitely liking this buying more now. So if we can see a nice pullback into this and that gets defended, that provides a good entry opportunity. That's what I'm watching right here. If this pumps all the way up to those 89, 90s without giving a nice pullback entry down here near the 77 to 80 area, then that's going to be tough. Because if we reject those 89, 90s again, then it's not going to look as good. I'd want to see those break out. But let's see if we get a nice little pullback now. Definitely more buying than we've seen at any point so far today. So I want to see that hold if we get a little pullback and then potentially go target. This opening range might be a nice first target, just around 93 to 95 or 96. If we can break above those 89, 90s, where that lower volume area was. But if we go straight up into this lower volume area, 89, 90s, without getting a pullback to get in on it, then probably just going to sit out of this one today. So I'm watching pretty much this whole area. I'm just going to see how price reacts if we dip, but I'm watching this whole area. The further down we drop into it, the better. If we get a nice quick little drop with thinner volume and I see aggressive buying step in again, then that would be better because we can just frame the risk lower. I would just really like to see like a quick little drop back into here and trap sellers. But dang, we're just ripping. There's 87s, so. I didn't catch it down here. Just the amount of selling that we've seen, it was hard to step in front of it. You kind of wanted to wait and see some good buying step in, and then we did see the good buying step in, and it's jumped. Didn't get any quick little pullback to get in on it. Which has happened a number of times this month, to be honest. Like once it starts to go, it's just like gone without having any little retracement to get in. Yeah, if the trade isn't screaming out at me, just stay cash. That's a good rule of thumb for sure. Definitely want to be patient and not try to force to make money on every move every day. If you try to force outcomes on every move every day without waiting for the setups that really scream at you, then it's going to be hard to make and keep money, because you'll make money taking some setups, but you'll lose so much taking too many little losses. So here we go. Is a nice pullback. Let's see what happens in here. Here's some bids down here in the 82s, 81s. Let's see what happens down here. We did test almost 89. Oh, we did 88.75. So we came so close to testing those 89s, but let's see how this acts here. Dropping down here. Let's see if we get a little reaction. See if buyers really want to be strong at this level and drive price back towards that opening range. There's a nice buying bit order there. See if this holds here. I like this buying coming in, so let me try this here. Definitely want to see it hold and rip from here pretty much right away. Still in this zone. Let's see if we get a pullback here. It's definitely some buying coming in that's trying to hold this. We'll see if it's enough. And if we want to, really to confirm this, we'd want to see price get back above those 89s. So I'm in 83s here, 83, 25, 50. And I would not want to see this get really below like 79. And I want to see this bounce in a pretty immediate way here. Otherwise, I'll take it off. We already dipped into this zone that I talked about right here that I just marked, like almost right in the middle of it here. And we're bouncing out of it. So want to see this hold now. Nice bit of buying here. Yeah, I don't want to see this come back on me and reject this 89s. I want to see us get above these 89s now. If we drop back sharply, then I may break even and try to get a better entry, because just looking at the amount of buying that's come in here, I don't want to see this get stuffed because I'm all the way in down here near these 83s. I really want to see this kind of rip with a lot of aggressive buying momentum and get above. Like I said, I want to see us recapture above these 89, 90s with some momentum to really confirm this trade. I'm trying to really like tick a nice entry down here, but really the confirmation that I want to see is a recapture above 89, 90. And until that happens, I'm kind of front running a really sharp entry down here. Yeah, Tobias, that flipping happens sometimes, dude, for sure. Definitely want to see buyers break this above these 89s. There's a lot of buying coming in here. Like, look at all this buying at these highs, this weaker selling on this pullback into this zone, and then more strong buying up here. Don't want to see that fail. That would mean there's a pretty strong passive seller here. I would want to see this strong buying get rewarded with a break above these 89s, get above any passive sellers that are here at these 87s to 89s. Got to stay patient, but also not be stupid. So if we get a really strong sweep down, I may get swept break even. And then it's a really, really, really tight spot to put my risk break even, but I'm doing it in a way where I'm still open to re-entering if I do that. I just don't like how this buying dwindled here. We saw all this aggressive buying coming in and then it just kind of dwindled. I want to see that continue momentum. And here's that selling. It came back to these 85s right at like the top of this range that I marked here. So let's see if that can bounce. There's some nice buying. This has got to get over these 89s for sure. I don't want to hold this red now if we can't get over these 89s here with this buying. For sure going break even with my stop here at the 83s. I know I'm up 6 points, but I just 5-6 points is about the spot where I like to really think about moving my risk to break even. So this will not go red on me. Let's see how much this buying can sustain, and I might go ahead and scale out if we cannot get strongly above these 89s. Again, it was only like a 2-point risk, so I'm already up 3R. I'm gonna be patient here. Try to hold on to some profit. 200 lot positive delta just hit up here. So we definitely want to see that continue to drive price higher and not reject back lower. $202 lot positive delta right here hitting at 89.50, which is that level I wanted to watch out for. So yeah, just scaled out half. I don't want to see that fail at 88. So about 5 points, nothing crazy, but just need to lock something in here and just hold it. My risk is break even. Like 2.5 R scale out there. I just don't want to see this get stuffed here now. I don't like that large positive delta right at 89. Like I said, I'm front running this trade with a very low risk entry down here, but really the confirmation that I want to see is a break above 89. So if we just reject here again with strong selling, then that's not it. All right, we want to see this break these 89s now. We want to see this break these 89s now. Otherwise, there's not much reason to hold this trade. Yeah. Took it off, guys. I'll look to re-enter, but I am watching to possibly re-enter, but I'm not going to hold this red after being up 6 points. It's scaled out a little bit here. Too much selling, rejecting after this large positive delta up here. I want to see this hold. Maybe I'm not being patient enough with it. Maybe I should leave it on. But, you know, we've had so much selling today. I want to see this 89 break out to confirm this. And it's rejecting again. So if we get a quick dip, it may have just stopped me out like to the tick almost, which would be frustrating, like literally to the tick. But if we get a quick further drop down, I'll see if buyers, I'll watch to see if buyers react again in a strong way that basically reconfirms the trade. But otherwise, there's no reason to be a bag holder at this point with what I'm seeing. We're seeing buyers defend this spot right here where my entry was. So see. See if they can drive this up from here. Still dropping down past my initial entry. But the selling doesn't look super strong here. It's kind of like weakly dropping into here. Matt, can you break down again why you got in there long, aggressive buyers defending price? Yeah. So we had this aggressive buying. We had this drop back into here. I took it long here. I scaled out up here near 88, 89. We had this large positive delta at 89. Really, to confirm the trade, I wanted to see us break out above 89. But after I saw that, I scaled out as we started to pull back around 88. And then I got stopped out the rest break even down here. It just totally lost steam. And I just wasn't comfortable with it because really I want to see us break above 89s. And maybe I was too brisk off with it because we're still holding around where my entry was. And I'm considering getting back in now, but it just not ideal looking. We are still holding and bouncing here, so I am considering re-entering here if we pull back and the selling continues to be pretty weak here. But it's just a little bit of a tough read. It's not so clean right now. It looked clean on my entry, and then it just completely ran out of steam and did not recapture the 89s, which is what I wanted to see. But now it might go do that without me after taking me out. So I'm just quite risk off considering we're in the middle of this balance range. I'm very, very, very wanting to catch it, and that may have just cost me a nice winning trade because now we're going back up to these 89s again without me. It looked great after my entry here, and then we damn it, there he goes. Why couldn't it done this the first time? It had to come back and stop me out first. It is what it is. That's just how they go sometimes, guys. Yeah, it was right on that fine line of, do I take the risk off? You know, I was up 6 points. We are already seeing that large buying right at that 89 level that I wanted to see break out. And we rejected it again. So it was like starting to see a little bit of a red flag that we were rejecting that 89. Plus, I was already up 6 points. So it didn't really make sense to be a bag holder and hold that trade red. So it was a very fine line with how to manage that one, in my opinion. Did the best that I could in the moment with the information that I had. It's quite tricky here on this grind up. It's not like a nice strong rally with momentum. It's just like, look at the downside move, how swiftly that occurred. And this is like really like chopping up and down. So trying to catch it and be a part of it with small risk is hard. Again, if we break 89 now with strong buying and pull back and hold above it, then I may be interested in that again and target a breakout of 6,300-ish. But it's right now it's kind of tough. This would have been a good reentry where I got stopped out, because I got stopped out here when all this strong selling came in, and then it dwindled and it didn't really get momentum back down to where my stop loss was. So my original stop loss never hit. There's a lot of orders coming in here, which is interesting, right at this 89. So we might see how we're seeing this selling, but it's not really rejecting price now. We might go and break out these 89s now. So we'll see what happens right here. This looks different than the first time when we came up here and tested 89 after I was in long. This is like selling is trying to hit this level now and it's failing, and someone is like buying into people that are selling at these 89s now. That's what it looks like to me right now. It looks really ready to break out above these 89s now. So my first entry just may have been a little bit mistimed. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of negative delta right here around 89.25, 80, 90.75. So there's a lot of negative delta. A lot of people are trying to sell this, and it's not really budging right now, which tells me it seems like someone is buying into this, potentially ready to break out above these 89s. And if they don't, then all this selling could really drive price lower now. So we'll see. If all of this aggressive selling right at the highs gets rewarded, then that's going to be kind of interesting. And this, if this drops from here. Yeah, it wasn't a bad trade. It was a good idea. The risk was managed as best as that I could with the information that I had in the moment. You know, I was up 6 points, which was really like 3R on that trade entry. So I don't like to let that come back into the red. So this is interesting because to me, I really thought we would revisit price up here above these 89s now after seeing that. But maybe this wants to come back one more time and then go. I don't know. It's hard to do anything right now with this current price reaction. That's interesting. Definitely some interesting orders coming in right now. Unusual. Unusual orders hitting on that dip, I would say. It looked different. And we're still holding in that zone here. So this is pretty interesting how this continues to react here. Positive delta popped up. So 83.50. I'm watching this area closely still, guys. It's still some interesting price action here. Interesting order flow, I guess I should say, right here around this. A lot of absorption here. $500 negative delta here at these 83s, right where I took my first long entry. Just with how this negative delta popped up here, I just wouldn't be surprised if we go hit that again. So may try something here. Smaller size, basically just risk what I just scaled out before. Yeah, I like this. I like this buying and absorption here still at this level. Like if this breaks down, then I would really invalidate it, but we'll see what happens right here. That sharp, aggressive pullback that we just saw, that kind of swept those lows right into where I took that initial entry, just immediately failed, and we're seeing a almost 500 lot negative delta here popping up. So I got back in at 83.75, just a tick above my first entry, but I am with smaller size, and I'm going to let this breathe a little bit. I'm just risking basically what I scaled out before, a little less, like 3 points or so. So either I'm break even on this trade idea and this goes and stops me out, because it's kind of the same entry, same trade I took the first time. So I'm either just going to be break even on this trade idea and validate it, and it looks like now I am going to be in just a sec if it drops here. Someone talking or any news coming out? There's just a lot of negative delta here between 83 and 81, which I would want to see get trapped if that is a strong passive buyer to rally off of. And we started to here, but now doesn't seem to necessarily be holding. But we'll see if it does. We're still in this kind of this zone. Just would want to see buying come in pretty strongly now. Looking at the 15-minute, since 10 a.m., it's been pretty ugly in like a slightly upward moving channel. Yeah, I would agree that it is tricky price action for sure. Anytime price is moving in a tight channel, I find that price action pretty tricky here. So, given the conditions of how this has been moving, I'm actually glad at a worst case scenario, even on this trade, I'll just be break even. And on a best case scenario, this could go break out 89s now for real and possibly go hit 6,300. So we have pretty much stayed inside this little pre-market rally that occurred from 7:45 into the news. So pretty much all day now, we've just stayed right inside this little pre-market rally that occurred during the news. So really nothing significant here. And if I don't see buying really start to come in here, then we're just going to probably have a break-even day and call it. See what happens. Definitely continuing to see buying activity in this box that I've been watching for 45 minutes now. Every time we've dipped into this area, we can see that passive buyer reacting. Look at all this large selling, and you can see it here on the DOM, this whole area. Every time we've dropped into there, there's a lot of selling and it just goes no lower. So either that passive buyer is going to win and those sellers are going to run out of gas and we're going to rally from here, or that passive buyer is going to run out of steam and that he's going to run out of buying power and there's still going to be sellers to drive price lower. One of those two. I am betting on this passive seller just because of how this is, or sorry, I am betting on this passive buyer here just because this is developed as a key area for me. And if we trap these sellers into this area and up here, it's only going to add fuel. So for me, there's the passive buyer plus these aggressive sellers potentially adding fuel if they turn into buyers because they have to start stopping out. But again, I have to see us go and actually recapture 89s and break out above 89s. Until that happens, we're just sideways in this battle between this passive buyer and everybody wanting to be an aggressive seller here. Again, I don't want to see 89 reject again now. I want to see this aggressive buying take this higher. So literally like the same trade as the first trade, just a tick away, just a new timing for the entry, and see after that, after this aggressive drop that failed down into here, if that stopped out these early buyers and now it's still holding and now we want to go break out these 89s. It gave another opportunity dropping back in there. I accepted the opportunity. We're going up again. I'm in at 83.75. I'm probably not going to be a bag holder on this. I want to see us actually break out these 89s now. Again, really sharp entry down there. Just looking at the candle chart, like 83s to 84s is a really sharp entry down there at those lows. I don't want to see us break below that now. I want to see us go and take out these 89s and get some buying strength above the 89s because, oops, sorry guys, knocking my keyboard off the desk here. We can see all of this aggressive selling right here. If we trap those guys that sold at 89s, then I could see this in a quick way moving up above 89s. But we got to get above them. And if we don't, then they might win. but I'm positioned like really at the lows here. So I'm able to hold this and speculate that we go break this 89 guy. And it's looking like a good chance that we can do that here. But I may go ahead and scale out half again, just in case I'm wrong. I'm watching closely. Again, I'm up like 6, 7 points now. This is not going red. All right, I just scaled out half again, just in case we want to. I'm out at 89.5. So, whoa, like 6 points. Again, I'm holding my risk break even. I'm not going to let this go red. But so this is what I saw. I saw this buying fail. I saw this red bubble pop up. So I scaled out for 89s here. Because, again, to really confirm this, it's already 3R. I want to see us break out above these 89s now. And I will hold this runner for potential breakout of 6,300, which would be really nice. Really, really nice. So if locked in a green day, no matter what now, we'll just let price see how green of a day it wants to give me. I was able to get positioned in this down here at these lows. Again, I marked this box way back here. I tried it once here. I got stopped out, or I scaled out, got stopped out. I tried it a second time down here after seeing this aggressive selling get absorbed. I scaled out a second time up here. I'm still holding my risk break even. So literally, guys, this is the exact same trade and the exact same trade management as the first attempt. Nothing has changed other than just I tried it once here. It didn't work. I'm trying it again because I reconfirmed that this zone is still holding. We trapped these sellers at the lows. Now we might short squeeze all these sellers here at the 89s. So I tried it once. It half worked. I tried it again. It half worked. And I'm holding my break even risk. And we'll just see what the market does. It's out of my control. It would be really nice, though, if we could go take out these 6,300s and move towards that 6,311. All right, my orders are set, guys. Give me 2 minutes. I'm going to walk away, and I'll come right back.
All right, I'm back. Hey, nobody left. There's around 100 people now. Well, maybe a couple people left. Lots of people just triggered. Still moving up. Still holding. Orders are set. I will potentially go ahead and close at 6,300. But if we get above there strongly, I would really, oh, what the heck just happened? I just got stopped out. Obviously, some news just came out, and that just crushed my nice winning trade. And that's the risk you take playing this game. That's why I have guys, I literally just got back from walking away, getting some orange juice, and I'm like, yeah, let's fucking go. I'm up fucking 12, 13 points. This trade is gonna hit. And in a blink, like I literally got back to my desk with my nice little glass of orange juice to watch my winning trade instantly get evaporated to zero. What the heck? What can you do but laugh? What can you do but laugh? It literally caught me mid-sentence. Like I said, my orders are set. I didn't trail my stop loss anymore. What just happened? It's just one of those days, guys. Just one of those days. That was a great trade. That was up like 5R. It was literally like a 2-point risk. I was up 12 plus points and just got evaporated by that tape bomb. Yeah. Ricky, this whole year I have been using hard stops. Imagine if that just happened when I just walked away. I was feeling comfortable. I was up 10 points. Yeah, smart money watching my live streams. Matt walked away. Sell it. What the fuck, man? Sorry. Pardon my French. Happens to all of us, guys. What can you do but just laugh? I didn't really have a level up there. We recovered that 89s. It was honestly, it was looking fantastic for a really nice. This month has been tricky. This month has been tricky. I have caught little scalps this month, but I have really not capitalized on any nice large winning trade this month. I'm making do with a lot of small scalps, but I really thought like for the first time this month that was going to be a nice like 20-30 point trending move right there that I just caught. But don't think, just react. The opportunity was there. Like, look at this. Great entry. The opportunity was there. Risk was managed. We broke out above those 89s, which is what I was saying. This looked fantastic to go and take out, at least test 6,300 and tape bomb. Absolute just tape bomb. So what happened? Donald Trump said he might remove Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. So that's what it is. Remember this morning, I literally just said we're at the mercy of a tweet from Big T, Trump. This dude is fucking me. Well, what do you do with that? It is what it is. Absolute. Yeah. All year I've had hard stops. Even if I don't intend to use it and I'm going to manually close it, I'll put a hard stop a few points out just to make sure something crazy like that doesn't cost me an insane amount of money. I will say Sierra chart with the Denali order routing is amazing. My fills are so fast. I've used other brokers before. I've never used anything this fast. Like even on that wild sweep there, I still got filled to the tick at my stop loss. I did not get slipped a single tick on that tape bomb down. I literally couldn't. You guys probably saw me just freeze like a deer in the headlights because I came back to my desk, sat down, and the whole I was looking at, oh great, I'm up 10 12 13 points. This is going to that second target. And what broker I use? Well, it's not about the broker. Sierra chart with their Denali order, or sorry, their Teton order routing. I've had that with both my broker AMP, Stage 5, etc. But yeah, the order routing with the Teton order routing on Sierra chart, I've never had any issues with getting fills where I want. It is so fast. I've used like Tradeovate and other things in the past, and anytime quick things like that, there's a very good chance I could even get slipped multiple points. I did not even get slipped a tick on that drop down. Yeah, it kind of froze me, Justin. I was like, by the time I like mentally processed that, I like couldn't even get out of I couldn't even like flatten the trade higher up, because like obviously I would have just flattened the trade for like 5-6 points or something. By the time I even like mentally processed what just happened, it had already dropped and stopped me out for break even. It's hard for me to long that again now. We went and took out the low, swept the low of the day actually, and bounced all the way back up there. But what a day. So you guys are in for it here, the good, bad, and the ugly, like it's not always sunshine and rainbows. Like I'm having a green day. I made money, not a lot of money, but I scaled out of those trades twice, like you guys saw me do, to protect myself, and then trailed my stop loss. So I didn't take unnecessary losses, and I scaled out a little bit of profit when I had it. But I'm not gonna lie, guys, I really thought that one, I thought I had a banger entry, and that one was gonna run at least to 6,300. We're only a couple points away. And that just complete tape bomb on that Trump news. And looking at the 15-minute chart this morning is pretty ugly, guys. So do you guys mind if I stop sharing the order flow for a second, and we'll take a look at the 15-minute chart here. I'll show you guys what I'm looking at. I really like the 15-minute time frame just for just kind of overall analysis on the day and the past couple days. Like I always watch typically the 2-minute and the 15-minute, just as because you guys see like majority of my execution is coming off like the footprint charts, book map, as I'm watching the order flow and stuff. I don't really look at candle charts for my trades. But when you see this, and we can clearly see, and I don't really use these. This is just that anchored VWAP that I was talking about earlier. I was looking at that as a potential target area. You can clearly see this choppy mess here on the 15-minute, right in the middle of this larger balance range. We came and tested the 50%, and then we've just been straight sideways for, it's 11 a.m. now. So this has gone on for the first hour and a half of the opening session. And we had this nice move from 7:45 to 8:45. So we had that 1 hour nice move with the news. And since then, we've just pulled back and not only gone sideways, but gone sideways in a pretty challenging way. You can just see with the wicks on the candle, we've basically been oscillating right around this 83 area, which is where my trade entry was right around 83. Yep, it's a wild card. I would have loved to re-enter that, but it just felt like a gamble because now we did get back above that place where I got that entry. So back above those 82s, 83s right there. But it's hard to do much with that. So what I'm looking at right now is all of this selling right here that just got trapped on that impulsive move down. And it's almost the same box that I drew before, right in the upper portion of that. Look at that, the same flipping area. So just looking at the size of the bubbles, yeah, we came down here and we wicked out the low of the day, but look at this here and here, just looking at, that's pretty large selling that potentially chased that panic sell-off and got trapped. Let's see if we pull back into there again, and if buyers want to get involved there aggressively. But I'm not going to chase it up here at these 88, 89s. I wanted to be positioned in this for the breakout of the 88s, 89s into 6,300 and above. I didn't want to be entering around the 88s, 89s. There's a 1,000 lot negative delta here that just popped up at 89. So right here on Bookmap, 1,000 lot negative delta. So we continued to see a lot of interesting action around those 89s and around those, 82s, 83s. So but this is very looking like a no trade zone for how messy this is right here. It was a good day to sleep in, Ricky says. Yeah, you never know when it's going to be a banger day or one of those days where you just slept in. Despite the outcome, I am pretty pleased with my trade management and to still be green on the day with this action. So I followed my plan. I've taken the setups that I was looking to take. The outcome isn't wildly fantastic today, but I still followed the plan and took the trades, and I managed the risk in a way that I should according to how my trading system works. So I did my part as far as managing my risk the way I like to manage my risk and executing the setups that I like to trade. I can't predict something like that happening with Trump news coming out and just blowing up the tape. I mean, I've always thought the markets have actually generally positively reacted to Jerome Powell's being the Fed chair. And so maybe that panic selling was at the potential of him not being removed. I don't even know if Trump can remove Jerome Powell. I don't know if that's ever been done or if that's even possible. He can ask him to resign. What do you guys think? Is this information in this live stream helpful for you despite some just Again, I don't like to look at things as good or bad. It is what it is today. It's just a probabilities game. Sometimes crazy, unpredictable things happen like this. And that's just why you manage your risk. Like there's absolutely no way I can predict like me being in 12, 13 points of profit and just instant evaporation from news. Aside from that, from the technical analysis piece and the execution piece, the trade looked A+. Out and then was still targeting that 6,300 breakout. That news came out and swept me out, Jose. So two times I scaled out, 2 times I got swept out on just unpredictable price drops. This one was looking really good. Again, it was only, wow. So this sell, what's going on now? Another really strong reaction. So buyers are really trying to bounce this level, but every time prices tested this, 94s again, just absolutely destroying the market. Massive tape bomb again, even bigger than the first one. Wow. Quite a move, guys. More removing Powell talk. The only reason I'm still sticking around here is just because of this pretty insane volatility. We came down and tested that lower trend line now at the 66, 67s. I would probably normally be calling it a day, but there may be some nice opportunity setting up here with the significant volatility that's coming in. So we'll wait. Trump's personal playground is the market. Jeez. The timing of whatever information he was saying around us double topping there at those 6294s is wild. Somebody had some mega money inputs at that level. I have to believe. Large selling. But you don't want to chase this kind of thing short, guys, because this can set up for very explosive bounces back, retracing higher. In fact, I'd look to catch a bounce on a quick scalp higher at a key level. There's that 5-8 area again, which is those prior all-time highs. Wow. Lot of selling. Like that. Aggressive buying off that. That's that 58. We just swept under again, those old all-time highs. That's that balance range low. Took a stab at a long here at 62.58, real small size, just one contract. I'm going break even already. I like the sweep under that 62.58 old all-time low with this large absorption and then aggressive buying, pulled back into it. I took it long here at 58. Just targeting a quick, 10-point retracement maybe. Again, risk is already break even. Probably going to go out of it here in a second. See what happens. Trailing. Yeah, I'm out here for 9 points. Or no, not 9 points. How much was it? I got in at 58. I just scaled out at 67. So, oh yeah, it was 9 points. See if we get another pullback into here that holds if buyers show they want to be involved again. So I got in here and I scaled out here when I saw this selling start to pull back. I like the sweep under that 58, that old all-time high level at the balance range low, large absorption, aggressive buying stepped in. We pulled back into it, took it long here. My stop loss was just back under those like 56s. And I cut my size like way down just to one contract, just because of this volatility that we're seeing. And we rejected right at that trend line that I talked about earlier at those 67s. So when I saw this buying here, start to pull back, I took it off here. Or no, pulled back here, popped, took it off, 67 right here. Yeah, this has April vibes. Crazy volatility coming in. Definitely want to be careful. Candle Sniper says, as always, Matt, thank you for the live stream. I make my own trades, but it's helpful and entertaining to watch other folks think. Appreciate that, Candle Sniper. Thanks for joining in. Yeah, so I just scalped 9 points off that dip of that 58 level, and I was only risking 2 points, so small size. It might hold for a bigger move now if we just panic sold and failed to break down that balance range low. So we'll see if this area holds now, especially around the 67 to 58 area. If we recapture that now and I see a pullback into here, I may take that long for a larger bounce back up into the middle of this range day around to 62.90. But this whole area where this buying was, if this buying stays strong here, and if we get a pullback into here and this buying stays strong, then I will be interested in potentially getting in this now. Now that we're seeing all this buying really come in defense of that dip under 58, it may be too late. We may just blast, not get a pullback. But if we get a pullback into here and I see buyers defend, then the risk versus reward looks good. I might take it for another long scalp setup. Really want to see it bounce around 67, where that trend line is, to 58, 67 to 58. I want to see that area hold on a pullback. All right, jumped in at 69. My stop loss was under 67 where we hit that bottom, but I'm going to trail it quickly here. I want to see an aggressive breakout now. So risk is already off, stop loss break even. See if we can go hit those 80s to 90s now. If it comes back and sweeps me out, then I can look to re-enter. There we go. See if we get a little bit more of a pump, and I'll go ahead and take this off. We'll see if we fill this bid up here, or this offer at the 80s. But if I see a big red flag, I might flatten it. Might come back and stop me out. Ran out of gas. Oh. Yeah, I'm out. See if we hold this area again. Still watching the area in this box. All right, I'm back in at 62 and I'm going to trail my risk very quickly. Stop loss was under 60. We're right in that box that I talked about. Let's see if we can go and tag these 80s now. So we came and hit this bid down here at 60. Again, we're still above that 58 level, which was key after we swept below that. I'm not going to bag hold this though. It's like a now or it might not work type of thing. Really large order just hit there. Haven't seen that yet today. Or in this little move here. All right, I just got stopped out break even. Got a nice bounce off of it, but it just didn't follow through. That might be a wrap if we don't get a bounce off this area. So that 58 to 67 area looks to be not holding any longer, which was that area of interest. Trump has drafted a level of Powell. Okay. Definitely want to be cautious here, guys. Technical levels are great, but if some, the crazy news continues to come out, then those technical levels can go right out the window. I took a couple little scalps long off the dip and recapture of that 62.58 old all-time high level, but now I've kind of crossed it out now that we've broken that technical area on this news. So now I'm just kind of chilling. Yeah, I sized all the way down to handle the risk that we're seeing right here. So just one ES mini contract for me. And so right here, you see I marked this level. We pulled back in here. I caught it long here and scaled out up here for about 9 points, I think. And then tried it again down here and then just took it off break even. So I was watching this zone here. It did react. We got a nice buying off it, off the dip under that 58 key level. But pretty insane day that was not expected all of a sudden. Pretty insane day. Still did not capitalize on the downside with this. But I did capitalize on scalping a few longs. Just kind of playing with the view here. It's just kind of a situation where at this point, now that we've broken under those key levels, it is not looking great for buyers. Trump is using his phone. Yeah, danger. Danger. Anytime Trump is using his phone, we need to be very careful. Like that little dip there. Took that long at the 44s. I'm going break even. See if we get a nice 10 points. Retracement bounce here into these sellers around 50 to 55. Again, it's already break even, so. Basically, in this kind of thing, I'm very, very tight with the risk, and then as soon as I get a nice solid bounce, I go break even. Just scalping the dip off this area. So this area is a bit of demand still at the low of the balance range, around 40 to 46. So if we stay, might get taken out here. Still in. If we hold above these 46s, I like this. Nice. Still in, still in. Out there for 10 points. So I caught that from 44s to 54.50, 10 points on like a 3-point risk because I would have stopped under those lows there. I wish I could send screenshots in the chat here, but it might bounce further than that, but given the context, that's not really my goal. My goal is with this is just, I'm not trying to catch the bottom of the day for a massive move. I'm just catching a little scalp off a level when I see good confirmations. What I saw here, guys, was this dip. I saw this large absorption here. You can see the absorption indicator triggered. I was watching this 40 level, which is the low from, what date was this? July 2nd. So there's kind of a demand that formed at the low of that day between 40 and 50 there. And so we got all the way down to the low of that. And I saw this, and then I saw aggressive buying. See how this buying popped above this buying here, and we had weaker selling at this low. As soon as we pulled back down here, this is where I got involved. So I bought at 44 here, and I put my stop like under the 41s here, so like 3 points. And I was just targeting a quick retracement back into the 50 to 60 area. And as soon as I saw 10 points, I took it off. So it's turning into a pretty nice day, actually, with just small size scalps on this volatility. Yeah, there's a lot of different things that I look for, Justin. He said, is that what I normally look for? That's one of. I have a list of different volume patterns and things that I look for bottom reversals. But that's one of the primary. Still holding long. Nice catch, Ishan. Yeah, I took it off. I just took the money and closed. But that is a nice level, and it's bouncing really nicely now. If I was in multiple contracts, I would have just scaled out and held. But since I'm all the way down size to literally just one ES contract with just how crazy this volatility is, I'm just taking as soon as I'm up like 10 plus points on that, just cutting it. So if we get another nice pullback, then I'll look to get back in because I do like how this is going here. If we recapture those and stay above that same level that I talked about earlier, 67 to 58. If we recapture 67 to 58 and hold it on a pullback, then that is another solid opportunity to me to, again, go target 80 to 90. How much am I up today? I don't know. I don't have my P&L. I hide my P&L during the trading day, but I had 2 trades where I scaled out for 6 points and then 9 points, I think. And then the other half came break even. And then I think I've had 2 more trades where I've scaled out for like 10 points. So I think I'm up probably 30 or 40 points now today. I'll recap it later. I don't want to think about it right now. But I mean, you guys can go back and rewatch it. I've shared every single trade live with you guys right here. I've called out every trade that it would, I think would probably, if you go back and watch it, I don't know, probably 30 or 40 points up right now for every trade that I've gotten in. We just peaked above that 67 level and we tried to reject a little bit there. We'll see what happens. Sorry, I missed your messages here because I was really intently watching the order flow. What is subscription cost? Does the software have Indian market? I can't say your name. Parsinia, I think. Sorry, I was looking at the order flow. I didn't see your messages there. This is Bookmap, and I don't know about an Indian market subscription, but it's called Bookmap. And I have the Global Plus subscription. How's everybody doing today? Everybody take some green trades today? Lock in some wins? Honestly, it was looking pretty dead until we got those crazy drops, and I found some nice opportunities to scalp some longs there off the bottom. But those type of trades are just so fast. I'm in and out. Honestly, on a day like this, it's not a bad day to be break even. 200 points on NQ. Ishan, hell yeah. I'm sure let's look at NQ here. It's just going absolutely berserk on the order flow. Just have to zoom out. It's a little tough because it's just such a large range that it trades. See if we pull back again and cannot really break under 58, and I see a lot of good orders hitting now, I may get in to speculate that we go break above those 67s now and go hit the 80s, around 62.80. Yeah, if we pull back, if we pull back and hold around 58, 57 to 59, if we get a nice quick pullback in there and I see a lot of aggressive buying, then I may take that one more time and target 80. Matt, left and market drop, Powell could be fired, Matt knows. Oh man, that was crazy, wasn't it? That was crazy. And I was in longs when that happened. That was crazy. Trump started speaking just now. I heard someone say. Dylan and Investitrade just posted on there. I saw. I don't see that on my news thing, but I'll keep an eye on it. If he just started speaking. True, that too. Yeah, that was crazy. Like how I was catching those, and both times they are watching the stream, guys. They know. Almost. Yeah, so if we get a dip down here, under these lows, that holds around 57 to 59 area, then I'll see what happens. Just going to gauge how it reacts. Again, if we get that dip and it does hold, we are still making lower highs though, so I would want to see us really break above 75-ish. So, but that would really kind of be my target. If we get a nice dip here, it would just be like 75 to 80 on ES. It can be what's the word? It can definitely elevate your fight or flight responses to be trading in this kind of volatility, and you have to definitely train yourself to be calm and collected, more so than even normally in trading, to trade this kind of volatility. So there's some buying stepping in on it. I didn't take it because I wanted to see it dip a little bit more. Didn't get quite down to where I wanted my risk to be for this. $61. I was looking around 60 to 57 area. Kind of a lower volume area that I see on my footprint chart with a large negative delta at 62.60. It could just go and bounce right from here though without ever coming down there, but that's okay. And it looks like it didn't quite, it just came like a point or two away from where I was looking to buy, and now it's ripping. Dang, they saw me watching to buy it and they came so close and then said nope. Wow. And there's the 80 target. Did I tell? Did I call it or what, guys? I didn't get it. I was looking for it to drop just a point or two more. Look at that. straight from that area that I just called out straight into that 80 target. Is that crazy or what? No coincidence there. That is nuts. You guys saw that? Wow. Well, I wish I caught that one. That would have been the best trade of the day right there. And it just not planning on firing, pal. So all that panic selling that messed us all up for absolutely nothing. Caught that at 63. Nice. Yeah, I was literally watching it for it to just see this off this bid right here at 60. I was watching for it to just drop a little bit more. And Trump screwed me with his news earlier. And now he screwed me again because it was just a point away from hitting my entry before it rocketed. Man. No coincidence there though, right? Like literally just a exact bounce off there. That's insane, dude. That is crazy. That is crazy. Is they out at 77? Nice. Knucklehead, huh? I haven't heard that one in a while. Well, that was the trade that I wanted right there, guys. It worked well. It just came like a point or two away from where I was looking to pull the trigger on it. So now we're back into that same 83 to 89 area that we were watching all day. That is wild. This is turning into one of the craziest days we've seen in quite some time, and did not expect it. But you know, never have expectations in the market. First of all, anything can happen. See if we now hold that 67 to 70 area, if we get a nice pullback. Although it's not as great anymore because we already hit that 62.80 target that I wanted to hit. And after all this, we're basically just like unchanged since the news this morning around 8 a.m. All that just pretty much unchanged. All right, guys, I'm going to probably call it a day there. Thanks everyone for staying in. Really long stream today. I know I was honestly going to call it at 11, and then we started having this crazy volatility that provided a couple opportunities, take a couple more scalps. but I think I'm at the physiological limit now of just being mentally alert enough to make good trading decisions. So scalped it good number of times. I'll probably post an Instagram recap for you guys, but you guys all saw it live here. So thanks everyone for joining in. Yeah, what a crazy, unexpected day, down and up, the V-shaped bounce again. Luckily, was able to catch it down there at the lows a couple times. Nothing massive, just 10 plus points there on a few bounces. So, but that's the name of the game. Not trying to catch all of every move. You just catch your piece based on the setups that you can repeat day in and day out. So, all right, everybody, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.